Right, so here we have the second video for chapter 3a where we are going to continue discuss chemical equilibrium. So previously we have already discussed about how to express Kc and Kp and how to define what we so-call as the dynamic equilibrium. So in this part of the video, we are going to continue on with what we so-call as a heterogeneous system. So generally, chemical equilibrium can be in two different types of system, namely what we so-called as a homogeneous equilibrium and a heterogeneous equilibrium. So from the diagram in here, you can clearly see that the differences between homogeneous equilibrium and heterogeneous equilibrium is that a homogeneous equilibrium is made of all reactant and product that exist in the same state of matter or called as the same phase, right? Whereas in a heterogeneous equilibrium, it consists of mixture for different state of matter in between the reactant and also product. Okay, so in here I'm going to put solid as a cube like this, liquid as a droplet like this, gas as a blue dot like this, and aqueous is with a conical flask and the aqueous solutions in it. All right. Okay, so basically when we are to what we so called express Kc and Kp, so we have to undergo certain filters. So I assume that when expressing the equilibrium constant of Kc and Kp, so let's say originally you have the four state of matter, which is solid, liquid, aqueous, and also gas. So when it comes to the expression of Kc, only aqueous and gas is considered. So in here, pure solid and pure liquid is not considered in the expression of the equilibrium. Why? So they are not considered. Expression. So why are they not considered in the expression of Kc and Kp? Because they have this what we so call as the intensive properties. So what does intensive properties indicate? So the changes in the solid and mass. Okay. Okay, in solid and also in liquid. Okay, does not change the generally the concentration much. Okay, so why is it that we say so? Can you imagine that? You take out a rubber, okay? So on this piece of rubber, you peel off the rubber. So you have a big rubber and small rubber, right? Thus, the density of both of the big pieces and small pieces are different? No, they are actually the same. Why? Because they come from the same substance here. So that is what we call as the intensive properties, where it doesn't matter how the size is, okay? So the concentration will still remain the same. And same happens to the liquids in here, okay? However, a little bit changes in the aqueous solution, okay? When you take out the same volume, okay, from liquid and you take out a small volume, the number of particles is going to be different already. So when they have different number of particles, eventually they have different of mole, which will lead to different concentrations already. Okay, so that is why for the expression of Kc, we consider only liquid and aqueous and gas, whereas in Kp, since we are only measuring for the partial pressure, we only express for the gas in here. Okay. So let's say, okay, if you have an example, CaOH2 solid plus 2NH4Cl aqueous gives CaCl2 aqueous plus 2NH3 gas plus 2H2O, okay? So when we have to express Kc, we express as Kc equals to concentration of the product, which is CaCl2 times NH3 square. So we are not going to take into water because it is pure liquid over concentration of the NH4Cl square because it is the reactants. So this is the expression for Kc. And finally, for the expression of Kp, we have Kp is equals to partial pressure of the ammonia square because we only consider for the gas. Okay. So this is how we are going to express Kc and Kp for the heterogeneous system. Okay. All right. And then we're also going to consider if a reaction happens in more than one that has more than one equilibriums in here. Okay. So this one already discussed. Okay. So for multiple steps reactions, so a more complicated situation is one with the product molecule in one equilibrium are involved in the second equilibrium process. What does it mean? So let's say if you have equilibrium 1 is already established, then some of the reactant in the equilibrium 1 will somehow involve another equilibrium. I call it as equilibrium 2. So these both of them will somehow influence the overall system of the reactions in here, and therefore it is important for us to relate in between two different chemicals equilibria. So for example, in this case, you have Kc is equals to Kc1 times Kc2. So what does it mean by that? So I have examples for you. Okay, so for example, in the reaction 1, A give B. Let's say your Kc1 is equals to 4, and eventually a second reaction is B forms C. Therefore, Kc2 is 5. So for overall equation in here, you can start to cancel lah. So B will cancel with B. So you have concentration of A divided A over C. Okay, so when you express for the K, so you have Kc1 is equals to concentration of B over concentration of A, whereas your Kc2 is equals to concentration of C over concentration of B. So your Kc overall, okay, Kc overall is equals to concentration of C over concentration of A. So which you apply Ka1 Kc1 times Kc2. So you get concentration of B over concentration of A multiplied by concentration of C over concentration of B. So you cancel B and B, isn't that you get Kc is equals to overall is equals to C over A, and this is where your Kc is equals to Kc1 times Kc2, so that's why it becomes 20 here. Okay, so that is if you have an equilibrium that is established in between more than one reactions in here. Okay. Okay, so now we are going to go into the calculation steps involving chemicals equilibrium. So to calculate chemical equilibrium, we usually use what we so-called as an ICE system. So what is an ICE system? ICE, the ICE system, where I stand for initial, that means the starting field state, C state for changes, okay, the reaction totals, and finally E stand for equilibrium, the stabilized rate about here. Okay, and throughout here we have we so-called as a dissociation reaction. So dissociation reaction is where large molecules decompose to become smaller molecule. Okay, and how much does it dissociate is measured by what we so-called as a degree of dissociation. So it is representing the fraction of the initial constant molecule that successfully break apart. So let's say if the whole molecule is 1, okay, and let's say out of this one, only part of it, that means 2 over 10 is break off. So your alpha is going to be 0.2 in here because 2 over 10 is broken off to establish to form the product in here. Okay, so later I will show you on how to get into the ICE systems in here. Are you ready? Okay, so if I just mention like this, you won't probably you won't be able to understand. So why don't I use examples to help you to understand better? So let's say if you have a dissociation reaction where you have PCl5 give PCl3 plus Cl2. So you have the you are going to apply the ice in here. Okay. So if let's say your initial mole is 1 mole, where initially you don't have PCl3 and Cl2 in here, that's why 0 and 0. So the degree of dissociation here is alpha. Okay, alpha. Okay, so that means how much is dissociate. So if completely dissociate, your degree is equals to 1. So usually in a chemical equilibrium, you don't have 1, you have lesser than 1. So that is why it is going to be partially dissociated. Okay, so if let's say certain amount of PCl5 is dissociated or decomposed, so I said minus alpha because concentration of the reactant will decrease with time, whereas concentration of the product will increase with time. So that is why we put plus in here. So stoichiometrically, 1 PCl5 will break to become 1 PCl3 plus Cl2. So if you have amount of the PCl5 dissociated is alpha, so I'm going to say it's minus alpha. So PCl3, how much will be formed? It will be plus alpha. How much Cl2 is formed? Will be plus alpha. So at equilibrium, so you shall have what initial minus the amount dissociated. So 1 minus alpha. So PCl3 is alpha, Cl2 is the alpha in here. To calculate Kc and Kp, you have different expression. So how different it is when you calculate in between Kc and Kp? So to calculate Kc, very straightforward. So simply write the expression concentration of Cl2 times concentration of PCl3 over concentration of PCl5. So just simply substitute A over V times A over V over 1 minus A over V. Okay, because don't forget the concentration must be mole over volume. And so far, if you look carefully, we are still measuring in the form of mole. Okay, so that is why you have to over V lah. Yeah, so this is for expression of Kc. Whereas for expression of Kp, so you have to first calculate what is the mole fraction first. Okay, so when you have mole fraction of PCl5 is 1 minus alpha. So by the way, sorry, just now at equilibrium, we say just now at equilibrium, we say that you have 1 minus alpha and alpha, isn't it? So in here, we are going to sum up total mole. So it is equals to 1 minus alpha plus alpha plus alpha. So your total summation is 1 plus alpha. Okay, so just in case if you're curious later, how do you get that 1 plus alpha? Okay, so your total mole just now, as we mentioned just now, is 1 plus alpha here. So your mole fraction of PCl5 is 1 minus alpha of 1 plus alpha, whereas your mole fraction of the PCl3 and also Cl2 is A over 1 plus alpha. So once you get to the mole fraction, so you can use to calculate what is the partial pressure. So the partial pressure of the PCl5 is equals to mole fraction of PCl5 by P total. So partial pressure of the PCl3 is mole fraction of PCl3 times P total, whereas partial pressure of Cl2 is equals to mole fraction of Cl2 times P total. And then you express your Kb is equals to PCl3 times PCl2 over PCl5. So you substitute the values inside there, and that is how you are going to calculate Kp. Okay. Right, so this is the first example where you have the dissociation of the PCl5 to become PCl3 and also Cl2. So I'm going to set another examples in here where you have the N2O4, okay? So stoichiometrically, you shall have one N2O4 form 2 NO2. By the way, try your best to remember the color. N2O4 is actually brown color, whereas the NO2 in here is actually, N2O4, I missed the two blur already. N2O4 is colorless. Okay. N2O4 is colorless. BNO2 is brown. Okay. I use brown color. Okay. Mr. Chu also blur already. Okay. So stoichiometrically, 1 N2O4 will dissociate to become 2 NO2. Okay, so let's say initially you have the mole of the N2O4 is 1 mole, while product NO2 is 0. Okay, so if you have this much amount of the N2O4 dissociated, since N2O4 is the reactant, so it will decrease with time. That is why we put minus. So how much will the NO2 form? Stoichiometrically, because 1 N2O4 form 2 NO2. So if here minus alpha, so your NO2 will be plus 2 alpha, right? So at equilibrium, you shall have the N2O4 remain will be 1 minus alpha, whereas your NO2 form will be 2 alpha in here, okay? All right, so how to calculate Kc and Kp based on this? So for Kc, it's very straightforward. So for Kc, you are going to express as, okay, I express out for you. Okay, so your Kc will be concentration of the NO2 square over concentration of N2O4. So you substitute lah. Your Kc will be equals to 2 alpha over volume square over 1 minus alpha over volume in here. Okay, so that is how you are going to calculate Kc. Whereas for Kp, it's slightly a little bit complicated, where at first you have to calculate the partial pressure of the NO2. Now you can straight away calculate like this. Partial pressure of NO2 is equals to mole fraction of NO2 times P total. So your mole fraction of NO2 is, because in here total mole is equals to 1 minus alpha plus 2 alpha. So you have 1 plus alpha. So your mole fraction of NO2 is 2 alpha over 1 plus alpha. Okay, so time P total lah. Whereas your partial pressure of the N2O4 will be equals to 1 minus alpha over 1 plus alpha times P total. Okay, and finally, when you express your Kp, so your Kp is equals to partial pressure of NO2 square over partial pressure of the N2O4. So you substitute lah, is equals to 2 alpha over 1 plus alpha times P total square over 1 minus alpha over 1 plus alpha times P total. Okay, and that is how you are going to express the Kc and Kp for the case of N2O4 to NO2. So just remember step by step of how you are going to calculate this, and I'm sure no matter what equilibrium given to you, you'll definitely be able to do it. Okay. So for examples, you can look through the modules because I already shows you how to calculate some of the examples. Okay, and if you have any questions, you can always leave at the comment. I'll try my best to help you to solve. Okay. Okay, and with that, that is for the second video of the chemical equilibria. So I'm going to end tonight, and we are going to continue with tomorrow for another video number 3, where we are going to talk about Le Chatelier principles. Thank you.